Monte Kiffin passed away yesterday at 84. He was considered by many the greatest defensive coordinator ever. Keyshawn, you saw Monte up close and personal when you won a Super Bowl with those Buccaneers, 2002. How will you remember Monte Kiffin?
Well, much like you said, Skip, Monte was the time that I've been around him, both as a Buccaneer player and at USC, and even as recent as a couple years ago. He will, by far, in my opinion, go down as the greatest, as of now, as the greatest defensive coordinator ever. And I know that there are people that would say, well, what about Bill Belichick? Bill Belichick, yeah, you could.
Yeah, and I would put Buddy Ryan in the conversation.
You could put Buddy Ryan in the conversation. There's no question about it. But I watched that defense up close in person, both playing against them and also being a part of the team.
And practicing against them.
And practicing against them. And when you think about it, Bill Belichick won a lot of Super Bowls as a head coach and orchestrated whatever defenses they were. There's not a lot of Hall of Famers coming off of his defenses, okay? I mean, in his defenses, outside of the Lawrence Taylor years and the Giants, was never known as one of the greatest defenses in the history of the league. This defense is known as one of the greatest one of the top 4 defenses ever.
I mean, you can make a good case.
It could be number 1. I'm not going to, I don't want to say the best. It's just one of the top 4. And when you talk about the players for a period of time, about a 9-year stretch, nobody wanted to play against our defense. I don't care what nobody said.
I agree with that.
They just didn't want to do it. And certain guys came and went. But then there was the Derrick Brookses, the Rondé Barbers, the Brian Kellys, the Sheldon Qualls', the Warren Sapps, the Simeon Rices, the Johnny Lynch's. When you start to think about that, off of his defense in that time period, there's going to be, you already got Brooks, you got Sapp, you got Lynch, you got Barber. Simeon Rice is the next, and that's 5. Okay?
And Simeon belongs.
And he belongs, but he'll get there. Yeah. He'll get there in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But outside of his coaching presence, man, just to be around Monte, because I never played on that side of the ball for him. But I was always, I don't know, it was weird because I was an offensive guy, but I always dealt with the defense. I was always dealing with the defensive coaches, no matter what team I was on. It was something about the way I played that they took a liking to.
Yeah.
2 years ago, I was at the Dickie V Foundation in Sarasota, getting an award or whatever, Dickie V Foundation. Monte was there, and his kids was there and whatnot. His daughter, we were talking and she said, you know, my dad, and you could see where Monte was getting a little older in the situation. He said, my dad can't stop talking about you. You're one of his favorite players to ever be around.
That's great.
And so that touched me because I was around him, obviously, with the Bucs, but even more around him at USC when he became the defensive coordinator for us because of Lane.
Because of Lane.
And I'm really close to Lane, his son, who's the head coach at Ole Miss. And, you know, that really touched me because I never played on that side of the ball. But that told me he appreciated the way that I approached the game. And that was, you know, he was so funny, Skip. Tell you, so give you 2 quick stories about him. I get traded to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2000 from the New York Jets. It's either the 4th or the 5th game of the year we play the Jets at home. Big game. Oh, it's Keyshawn versus the Jets. It's all crazy, right? That week, I didn't spend any time in the meetings with the offensive coaches. I had to sit in with the defensive coaches to give all the signals and what I knew. I gave them everything. We pounded them the whole way. We getting ready to win the game. All of a sudden, at the end of the game, they throw a flea flicker halfback pass. I mean, a halfback pass from Curtis Martin away commit. So game's over. You know, it's
I'll lose the game.
It's the worst thing ever. Because I gave them everything. We look up. Oh, they getting ready to run this play. Here's what's gonna happen. Boom, it happens. Monte dialing it up. So check this out though. So now we move on, Skip. We lose a game. We go to practice the next week to get ready for our opponent. Monte comes over to me in this little squeaky voice. He go, Key, man, you gave me everything right. You gave it to me. We had him. But you didn't give me the combat play. I said, well, how? I I didn't know about it, but it was funny.
The trick
yeah,
play.
I said, but it was funny because that was his personality. Yeah. You know, and he's gonna be missed for sure, though, man. You know, I don't know. I don't want to choke up about it, but he's gonna be missed. Yeah, he's gonna be missed, and I know Derek Brooks and Sapp and all the guys that played for him feel the same way.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he's the reason I'm not a Raider fan no more.
Really?
No, seriously. Was that who y'all played in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's who they destroyed.
That's the defense y'all put on Rich Gannon.
Yeah.
The MVP that year. From that day forward, Skip, I was no longer a Raider fan. Growing up here in L.A.
It was hard to beat us, though. We lost
5 interceptions. 5 interceptions to the MVP quarterback. MVP quarter was because his defense.
Yeah,
that's the reason.
We lost some games.
That's the reason I'm not a Raider fan.
That's when I
converted to Patriots.
Let's not act like we didn't lose games. But the next time we played them opponents, they were scared as you know what. I mean, that's just the reality of it. We lost games because everybody loses games, but it was going to be a hard out.
Yeah,
it was going to be a hard out because they ran about 8 to 10 plays on defense. Not complicated at all. Very simple.
The Tampa 2 is not complicated.
Yeah, but guess what?
Yeah.
You couldn't duplicate it because it's about calling the play at the right time, dialing it up at the right time, and all 11 of your defensive players holding their responsibilities and knowing where to be. Derek Brooks was the smartest football player ever been around, though, by far, and the best football player ever been around. He could see it before it even happens and go get it. That was how our defense was. Dudes would catch slants and slide on the ground. They didn't want no parts of that. Man, if you think I'm lying, ask people that played with us. They would catch the ball rather than try to get extra yards. They go straight to the ground because they knew they was getting ready to get the you-know-what kicked out of them. You know, and so it just is one of those things where people try to duplicate it from high school to college and into the pros. It never could have the same success that we had in Tampa with that defense. You just couldn't.
So you know Derek Brooks well. I know him very well because I got to work with him, had the privilege of working with him at ESPN. He's as fine a human being as I have ever known. Texted with him back and forth yesterday. I know you were in touch with him also. He was obviously devastated to lose this man because this man was the light of Derek's life. And when Derek Brooks says you're it, then you're it, man. And Derek was blessed to play for Monte Kiffin for 13 of his 14 Hall of Fame seasons. That's a real blessing. And my experience with Monte Kiffin goes way back. The first time I noticed him was, you know how big an Oklahoma Sooner fan I am. 1977, my Sooners were on the way to the Orange Bowl. Barry Switzer coaching, Billy Sims running the football. Billy Sims was really good. And they are 18-point favorites going to the Orange Bowl against Lou Holtz's Arkansas Razorbacks with the defense coordinated by Monte Kiffin. 18-point favorites because Lou had suspended his best receiver and best running back. They beat us 31-6. They held Billy Sims and company and Barry Switzer's offense to 6 points, and it was because of that man, Monte Kiffin. Then the next time I actually encountered Monte was 2 years later. I covered a game in Fayetteville, Arkansas, which was #2 Texas at the Razorbacks. Again, Monte, defensive coordinator, Lou Holtz, the head coach. And Lou, he could coach it, man. But they did a number on Texas that day, beat them 17-14. And I'm in the postgame locker room, and I see this Monte Kiffin. He is acting like a madman. I mean, I thought he was a lunatic because he was screaming and yelling like out of his mind, out of control. And I'm saying, this guy is the defensive coordinator of the Arkansas Razorbacks. And then I began to talk to some of the players, and they swore by him. They said he was the reason they won that game because he got them so ready to play. If we do the whole package of coordinating a defense, it also includes motivation.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Has there ever been a better motivator of college and pro football players than Monte Kiffin? I'm talking about having you ready on razor's edge for the football game, psychologically, mentally, emotionally, physically ready to play. That was part of his genius also was
Yeah.
getting you ready even in practice.
And even though, like I said, I never played on that side of the ball.
Yeah.
But the conversations and just being
He didn't rub off on you. Come on.
I'm saying he rubbed off big time.
Yeah.
And then when you think about, like you were talking about, being able to go from college to the pros and still be dominant as a defensive coordinator, because most of the times it doesn't translate. Guys have college schemes, guys have pro schemes. He was able to do it in both.
Yeah.
You know, and do it very successfully.
Right.
You know, guys, he was one of those motivators, like you said, Skip, even at an older age, where he still was out there moving around and running with the team.
Yeah, exactly.
They're doing their sprint drills. He's right there with them. You know, and that gets the players fired up and ready to go.
Yeah.
It was fun, man. Trust me, it was fun playing with him and having him as a coach for sure.
Yeah. So you've talked a lot about this, about communication.
Oh, yeah.
With a star athlete. How does a coach communicate and win your respect and your trust? Monte Kiffin was a yeller and a screamer.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But he was never screaming down at you, like trying to belittle you. He was screaming up at you, like you're better than this, right?
Yeah,
okay. And that's you've known those coaches who came in like, I know it all. You need to learn this from me because I know how this works. No, you don't, because you're the player, and without you, he's nothing, right?
And when you think about, so he was the defensive coordinator. Mike Tomlin was our defensive back coach.
Yep.
Rob Marinelli was our defensive line coach. Both of them got head coach jobs.
I did.
You think about Lovie Smith was one of our linebacker coaches. He went on, got a head coaching job.
Man. Yeah.
Raheem Morris was under his tutelage.
There you go.
He went on to become a head coach. And all of them were obviously under Coach Tony Dungy. But just that side of the ball, there's about 4 or 5 guys that went on to become head coaches that learned the Tampa 2 scheme under Monte Kiffin. Think about that. That's pretty wild. He was not a long-time head coach in the National Football League. Typically, long-time head coaches in the National Football League, people pluck off the staff. But they said, no, we want to pluck your defensive guys to come run and try and duplicate some of this and have some success. You know, some did, some didn't.
That is a star-studded staff.
No, that was a pretty good staff.
So I saw a quote from Rondé Barber, Tiki's brother, obviously played corner for you. It was from 3 years ago. Obviously, Monty's still alive and kicking. And Rondé gave all the credit in the world to Monty in ways that surprised me, because you can make a case, because you did, that just about anybody could have coordinated those guys, because that's just Hall of Fame city, right? But Rondé is saying we would not have been the same without him coordinating us,
Absolutely.
motivating us, right?
That's very true.
All right.
Because you gotta motivate. You gotta know when to call the plays. I can take a coach and drop them in with Brooksy and all them. You're not gonna get the same because they don't even know when to dial it up. They gonna mess around and have dudes out of position. You see it. You saw it all over the league where there were good players on teams that tried to run the Tampa 2 system, right, and had really good Pro Bowl players and stuff. But they all out of sync and don't know how to drop and turn, which way to go. He had them right. You know? He had them right.
So we could talk all day about the 85 Bears and the Ray Lewis defense in 2000 and your defense in 2002. I just know Derek Brooks, every time I talk to him about this, he says, it's us, man.
I try not to be as biased, because I just, you know how I am, Skip. I don't want to be biased. But it's us, man. I get it. 85 Bears, I understand their record indicate that they were the best. I understand. I wasn't around with the Steelers and the Steel Curtain, but that was a different. That's a different whole nother world in the 70s.
Yeah.
But as far as our time go, for me to really understand football, man, they couldn't mess with us. They could not mess with us. They literally had dudes sliding on the ground.
I understand that.
Okay?
And that
means you scared.
Hey.
When you catch the ball and you go right down, That means you're scared.
Well, they were afraid 55 was coming.
Man, at 55, 99, 97,
Right.
Booger, any at 92, I get 25, 20. What you scared of?
You just are.
You ain't no need to be scared, but they're going down to the ground, head first.
So the 85 Bears had Buddy Ryan and a Bear defense scheme that he invented.
Yeah.
That was just
The
all
46
out. The
defense.
46 is just like all or nothing because they are all coming after you.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be able to block them because you're not going to have enough blockers to block them. And if they get to your quarterback before he gets rid of the football, bad things are going to happen.
I played against that 46 defense in Arizona. Not so good.
Okay, well, that's
so
what I'm
good.
saying.
Look,
Because
not so good.
Keyshawn,
burned them.
it was new, and they were loaded with Mike Singletaries and a lot of Hall of Fame talent. You know,
It
Richard
wasn't
Penn.
good at Arizona, that's for sure.
Yeah, okay, I
Sam
got you.
Joyner and company.
Okay, but they devastated people because people didn't know how to deal with it yet.
Yeah.
But slowly but surely they figured it out. And then we get to 2000, and Ray Lewis is Ray Lewis, and he's right there with Derek Brooks. You can do 6 of one, half dozen the other. They're equals to me.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, but Ray Lewis's just sheer magnetism and energy drove that defense. And it had a lot of good players, but in the end, it wasn't quite your defense to me.
Yeah, but one was a Mike linebacker, one was a Will, and Derek was a little more, not a little more, way more athletic than Ray.
Yeah, I buy that.
You know,
Yeah.
different. They played linebacker, but one is a Mike, one is a
I
Will.
understand. Yeah, no, I got you. Well, Monte Kiffin will be missed, and I appreciate everything you just shared about him. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.